Hey y'all, and welcome to Politibrawl. My name is Brian, and Doug Collins is out here exposing this terrible reporter who does what the mainstream media does best and is pushing fake news. This is how you deal with the mainstream media. Let's dive in.
But one of the issues that we're having is, and it's something here, I need your help on something. I need your help because all I seem to be doing lately is fighting back against innuendo and rumor stories. And this is what I seem to be fighting about all the time. In fact, Patricia, part of it is with you.
I'm sure.
And I just need your help because when you start headlines with, there's a rumor going around and that we've heard that hurts my veterans. That scares my veterans. That scares my employees because it's not true. Will you commit to not doing that in the future?
Well, there was a DOJ representative that day.
I have a VA employee who is our DOJ liaison. You knew that and you could ask that question.
I did ask that
But
question.
when you got the answer. But my question here is, I need you to commit to not starting off. Rumors began circulating.
I mean,
Well, if it's either true or false, Patricia, and then you go to Patty Murphy, saying that we've heard and we have DOJ may have barged into the VA today. Unconfirmed hearsay. You know what you'd have done if I was a member of Congress and probably done that? Unconfirmed report. But you didn't put unconfirmed report.
Right.
So, Patricia, I want to work together with you.
Okay.
But I need you to commit to me that you're not going to do this.
I'm working on it, and I have been oh, actually, I have another question based on that. Thank you very much.
No, I want to hear the answer first. Are you committing not to do rumors? Because you're scaring my VA employees about this.
That's fair.
And you're scaring my veterans.
Yeah,
That's unforgivable. That's not something I take
But
lightly.
if a rumor is different than if I have a source.
Then you source it to our PR people and let them know. Because you know something, I've got people who are reporting stuff right now who aren't even calling us. They don't even get something from. They don't even call us to check it.
Well, that's not right.
Well, this isn't right either.
Okay. Well, that's fair. But I did call about that.
Good.
I did call about
And you got the answer, but yet you still report it as a rumor.
Well, I didn't.
Okay, which is it? Which is it? Is it a rumor or is you get confirmed?
Was that there is a DOJ person there.
There is.
That was the
Okay,
lead,
nobody
second
has said that from you. Nobody. We answered it, but it was reported as a rumor. I mean, think about this.
I take issue with parsing out my stuff,
in
but that's
the headline of the story,
I don't write the
Elon
headlines.
Musk. Hey, I don't care who
I
wrote
don't
it.
write
You're,
the
you're,
headlines. I know. I have
but
to
your
push
byline.
back. I'm
your
starting
byline.
to push back on those, and I
Okay,
have.
but you think about what it says here. Elon Musk aide is now working at VA accessing computer systems. Ooh. And that's
Well, that's a true statement.
No, it is because you know what? We don't make a DOJ employee, which is funny because they're VA employees, a liaison. We don't also give them a.
I was not told that.
We don't give.
I was not told.
But you
there was
wrote
a
the
DOJ
article.
liaison. It
You wrote
told
the
there
article.
was a DOJ employee, one DOJ employee.
As we look at this, Patricia, I want you to know something. When you look at this headline and you're accessing computer systems, I want to work with you a lot as we go forward. We're going to have a lot of time together.
That's fair.
But I'm not going to have any reporter scaring my employees and scaring the veterans. And that's what this is doing. Let's get it right.
Well, folks, I think that's proof positive that Georgia boys just do it better. Doug Collins was already a pretty darn good representative, and then he finally bowed out with some grace, but now he is in charge of the VA, and he is starting to actually look at what's going on there. And he's starting to understand just how bad things are for America's veterans. And so you could see Doug Collins is already not overwhelmed, but he's starting to get a little bit ticked off whenever he's also having to deal with ridiculous outside pressure. This reporter is from military.com, so you'd think that she'd actually try to have a better working relationship with the new head of the VA, and instead, as it turns out, her own organization is out there with these fear-mongering tactics, with these ridiculous headlines and bylines that are an attempt to suck you in and then obfuscate the actual truth. Because here's the playbook. Have a ridiculous headline that causes people to freak out. Then they read the article and then they see what's actually going on. And about 7 or 8 paragraphs in, you finally understand what's happening, and then the story's over. But only a handful of the people, a small fraction, about 10, maybe 20% if we're lucky, actually read the article. Most people will look at the headline, and that's what Doug Collins is calling out here. These headlines are atrocious. They are an affront to anyone who calls themselves a journalist, and you can tell that she is not comfortable when he's calling her out on this. She's squirming in her seats. Right there at the beginning, she's giving him this look like, oh, how dare you rope me into this? Because she's not writing the headlines, so of course her hands are washed of it. She and Pontius Pilate have a nice little place together. So ultimately, she's saying that she's washing her hands of this nonsense, but the reality is, she's the one providing the interviews. She's the one that's sort of the head of the head journalist. She needs to be speaking up a little bit better to her ridiculous editors and producers that allow this slop to get through their own censors. And when it comes to Doug Collins actually trying to deal with the VA, veterans have reported poor healthcare conditions at the VA for decades, including long wait times, delayed care, slow processing times, and corruption. While the Trump administration's VA has only investigated 2% of the contracts so far, Collins has said they've already identified 600 non-essential or duplicate agreements to save almost $1 billion. Collins said that money can be reinvested into making changes that actually help our veterans. So, this is the whole spirit of DOGE, okay? The Department of Government Efficiency. Finding that waste, that fraud, that abuse. And the worst kind of it, in my opinion, is in the Veterans Affairs group, okay? When you are defrauding our taxpayers, you better be careful who you're defrauding, all right? It's already bad when we have these issues with Medicare and Medicaid. It's even worse when we notice that people aren't matching up with the records in Social Security. But when you're stealing from veterans, when we're bleeding money on trying to provide medical support and care for our veterans, and by the way, we've been doing it poorly, okay? It's been awful out there. So, of course, Donald Trump and the spirit of Elon Musk, they're going throughout the entire government. They're figuring out where the waste is, what can be done better. And Doug Collins, who has been a big Trump supporter since day one, has finally gotten an opportunity where he can go in there and clean up a bunch of the mess. Because it turns out that's the kind of mindset that this dude has. I can say that as a Georgia boy, I've met this man. I know people who have worked intimately with him. This guy is the perfect fit to fix the VA because he has that kind of a patriotic mindset. He cares about the veterans, and he believes in the idea of gutting out the waste, the fraud, the abuse inside our federal government. So yeah, always send a Georgia boy in. We'll get the job done. But it gets even worse when you start considering that only 2% of the contracts have been given a brief look by the Trump administration by Doug Collins. Only 2%, and we're already saving $1 billion? Let's extrapolate that data. 600 non-mission critical or duplicate agreements. Now, we're probably finding the easy ones early, so we can't really take that 2% and say, hey, we're going to save $50 billion. But the reality is we're probably going to save another $20 billion as we keep on finding all of this nonsense. Okay? We are going to start making our government sleeker, and that's going to be able to take that money back and either start paying down the debt or reinvesting it so our veterans can stop looking at the VA like it's this disgusting hydra of this rampant red tape and insanity. It is time to start serving our veterans better, and that's exactly what Doug Collins is going to do. And military.com, listen, I know you're trying to get as much headlines as you possibly can, but when you're scaring people with Elon Musk might have some of your computer records. Well, so does the VA, so does the IRS, so does Google, so does Apple, so does Samsung. Heck, you can go to Aaron's, the renting company, and take out a bunch of stuff in someone else's name if you have their social security number. I should know that happened to me. Okay? So if you're going to trump up some headlines, make sure they actually make sense. And maybe next time when you say something this asinine, you can look back at this little exchange with Doug Collins and ask yourself, is Doug Collins going to yell at me for basically peddling fake news? If the answer is yes, you might not want to write that headline ever again. So let's start giving our veterans what they deserve, better care. It is long past time that starts becoming a reality. Folks, my name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed that segment here on Politibrawl. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. And until then, y'all have a good one.